strikes. Here's Jack Musa on the breakaway, looking for two, he's got it! Jack Musa across to O'Hara, he scores! That's a program record for point streak! Here's Santos Mills on the doorstep, they score!
Hello everyone, along with John Ruggiero, I am Jacob Brepper, and welcome to the 11th episode of the UMass Hockey Preview Show, presented by UMass Journalism. John, we're a couple hundred miles away, a little bit of a different look for us here, but we're still making it happen, and we've got a lot to talk about from the last time we were together on set in Amherst.
Yeah, Jacob, we sure do, but it's great to be back. Obviously, you in New York and myself in Massachusetts. After a month-long break, the preview show, it doesn't stop, although the semester isn't going yet for the spring, but UMass hockey is right back on top this weekend against BU. We're going to cover that at the end of the show, but before that, we'll dive into what happened about a month ago against Northeastern, a split there, and then we'll also take a look at some international tournaments, a couple of Minutemen doing some good things overseas, Jacob.
That's for sure. I'm excited to talk about that. But like you said, let's backtrack a little bit. Before Christmas, UMass took on Northeastern. Look, John, we've talked about it. It wasn't an ideal start to the season for UMass. Their worst record since Coach Carvel's first season as a head coach. However, they had a chance to finish on the upslope. They did just that against Northeastern in the second game. Why don't you tell me a little bit about a great game against the Huskies?
Yeah, Jacob, I mean, the first game, obviously UMass lost in overtime, but the second game was pretty good for UMass, a 2-0 win. Jackson Irving got the shutout with 37 saves, and the goals went to Mikey D'Angelo and Vaslav Nestrasil. So it was a great road win for UMass. In the game before that, did lose 3-2 in OT. Dylan Ritzkovian, the ever-dangerous Husky, scored the game winner on Michael Ravel, and then Irving started the next game. So some questions in net, lots of questions, which we'll dive into a little bit later in this show. But UMass coming off a high note to end 2025.
They finished 9-9 in the fall, and we talked about it, John, our first episode. That was a tough stretch for UMass. So many ranked games, 9 ranked opponents, but this second half, a lot of Hockey East opponents, a good chance for them to get back in the win column. John, this is it. This is the final stretch here that UMass is going to make a big push for.
Yeah, Jacob, like you said, they are exactly 500. I believe they are within the top 40 of the NPI, so they're going to need a push like they have never had before, that's for sure, if they want a chance at making the tournament. But there are some teams on the horizon where they could potentially do just that. I mean, coming up, you have Merrimack and Vermont. 3 out of those 4 games are on the road, and we know that road wins are so important when it comes to the NPI. But first, you got to get through BU, and obviously one of those games are on the road. But after that, you got a couple games against Lowell, UConn as well on the horizon. They're on the upward trajectory, so it's not going to be easy for UMass. Obviously, a couple games against some teams that they should beat, but there's also a couple games against some teams that they might get beaten against.
Let's talk about momentum. UMass had a chance to gain some of that just a week ago. In case you missed it, UMass, they took on Simon Fraser. They came on down in an exhibition game. UMass missing a couple players, which we'll talk about in just a little bit, but they came out victorious 7-0 and got some unexpected goal scorers in that game.
Jacob, how about Matthew Wild scoring his first in maroon? I don't think that's quite the way he drew it up, but that's got to be a confidence booster. Not only did he score during the game, but he also scored during the mock shootout that they do during the traditional exhibition games. So that was good for him. Cam O'Neill got back into the lineup. He scored 2 goals. So good stuff from the Senators draft pick. And back to the goalie battle. Irving and Rabel split time in this one. Rabel did get the start. He saved all 8 shots he faced, and then Jackson Irving took his place midway through the second period. He saved only 5 shots. Of course, UMass got the shutout, so not much traffic for the goalies in front, that's for sure. But then Irving did stay in net for overtime, where he was perfect, made a great save in that OT, and obviously then UMass won the shootout with the Wild goal, and Irving was perfect in the shootout as well. So some positives for this UMass team. Obviously, their first game in the new year. I mean, it's just Simon Fraser, obviously an exhibition, but there are some bright spots.
That's for sure. And they're missing three guys, John. Can't forget about that. Jack Musa and Larry Keenan. They were overseas playing in the Spangler Cup, representing the United States collegiate team. And then you have Vaslav Nestrasil in the World Junior Championship. He just captured a silver medal just a few days ago. So for those guys, let's talk about them a little bit. A lot of hockey to watch over winter break. I'm sure you and I are both posted up on our couch watching the Minutemen represent overseas and here abroad.
Yeah, Jacob, I wasn't able to catch any of the Spangler Cup. I don't know if you were, but I did watch some of the World Juniors, and Vaslav Nestrasil for Czechia certainly impressed me. Obviously, won the silver medal in the loss to Sweden earlier this week. But Nestrasil, he was pretty darn good for Czechia. 6 points, 2 goals, or excuse me, 8 points, 2 goals and 6 assists in the 7 games he played for Czechia. So I mean, the UMass first rounder seems to have come to life in this tournament, and he's got to continue that into the new year for UMass. But on the other side for the Spangler Cup, Jacob, Jack Musa and Larry Keenan, they just came up short as well, almost winning that championship, lost to the HC Davos team out there in that country. But Jack Musa, he scored 2 goals during the tournament. One of them was on a former NHL goaltender, that being James Reimer. Why don't we take a look at that goal?
Along the half wall, but then it's stolen. Breaking in is Musa. Musa scores! Backhand 5-hole. It's a 1-goal game. But Musa read the whole play on the pass back, and then just quick hands, little leg kick, and then slides it through the legs of Reimer.
And for Jack Musa, he's got a fellow UMass Minuteman on his own defensive blue line, Larry Keenan. Played right around the 6th, 7th defenseman spot. Didn't get any points, but John, he represented UMass pretty well, and that's a player that Coach Carvel said when he's at his best, he's one of the best defensemen in all of college hockey.
Yeah, Jacob, I mean, he's drafted for a reason to the Red Wings and unfortunately did not get on the score sheet, but he's not necessarily expected to do that. But whenever you represent, whether it's your country or, I mean, I guess the league that you play for in this case, it gives you some confidence. And I think that Larry Keenan will come off of this benefited, and so will Jack Musa and Vaslav Nestrasil, of course.
Now it's time for our favorite part, John, the preview exercise of this show. UMass, they take on Boston University, and this is a very interesting BU team, John, because you look at what they did last season, their record up until this point, 10-7-1. That's very similar to where UMass was. BU this season, 9-8-1, not far away in that regard either. Of course, they went on to the national championship. They lost to Western Michigan, which unfortunately UMass knows a thing or two about. But this BU team loaded with talent up and down the lineup. A very young team and a last name that you probably should know by now. But if you haven't, you're going to tell us all about it. Cole Hudson.
Yeah, Jacob, if you don't know the Hudson name, you have to be living under a rock when it comes to hockey, at least. But Cole Hudson, he is pretty much on fire for the BU Terriers this season. 20 points so far. Looks like he'll be their Hobie Baker nominee. He should be. Obviously leads the team in points, and he's the third of the Hudson brothers to come through the Terriers organization. So he's done great things for this Terriers team, and you'll have to look out for him on Friday and Saturday. But Jacob, you alluded to there a little bit, this team not very similar. 14 newcomers for the BU Terriers.
That's for sure. And a lot of guys, a lot of young players, that's for sure. You look at a couple of the transfers from North Dakota. Owen McLaughlin, he's a great player. Sasha Bosvert as well. And then 12 freshmen, 8 of them being NHL draft picks. So much youth, so much talent on this team. And then you combine that with a veteran head coach in Jay Pandolfo. We know so much about him through Hockey East and what he's done with Boston University. He's going to have their players ready. I mean, you talked about it right there, how Hudson's coming over from, well, he's in the United States, but coming over from the tournament, a couple other players doing that as well, they're going to be ready to go. And we haven't talked about that with UMass as well, but this is a big game here, John. Just a few days away from the tournament, some of their players getting back. UMass should be ready to go. We expect all their players to be back as well, and I think it's going to be a really good matchup. I'm excited for it, and I think you are too.
I sure am, Jacob. I actually forgot to mention on Cole Hudson. He got injured during the World Junior Tournament, took a puck to the back of the head, had to be stretchered off the ice, but it did seem that he came back in the last game the United States played, so he should be on track to play this weekend. But yeah, Jacob, I mean, it's always fun when UMass plays BU. I mean, well, at least last time it might not have been. UMass did lose in overtime in the Hockey East tournament last year, last time they went to Aganis, and that did sting for the Minutemen, but they obviously went on to go to the NCAA tournament anyways, to lose to Western Michigan, like you said. But it's a big opportunity here for UMass, Jacob. It really is. I mean, BU, they're struggling a little bit, but they're still up there within the top 30 or so of MPI, probably closer to the top 20. So you can pick up a couple points here if you're UMass. You really have to. It starts with BU. If you can beat them, maybe go on a roll. When you got Merrimack and Vermont coming up after that, so it's definitely the most important series of the year up until this point.
And Coach Carvel, he knows the importance of that, and he doesn't look too far ahead. He tells us all the time it's one game at a time. But when you're last in the Hockey East standings, John, that's not a good place to be. But a chance to remedy that against Boston University, good chance for them. I'm excited. I really am. They've got a great goaltender as well that we didn't talk about. Who UMass, they're gonna have their hands full with him and Mikhail Yegorov, a great goaltender there. And then the goaltending situation for the Minutemen, which we didn't get a chance to talk about. Who's going to be in net? That's a little bit of a question mark, it looks like.
I mean, Jacob, the last time we talked to Greg Carvel about this, he said it's Jackson Irving's net moving forward. But then you look at the exhibition and Michael Rabel starting in that game, and at least the last time out, the two split the series. Michael Rabel got the start in the first game, did all right, only allowed the 3 goals. Then Irving, obviously a 37 save shutout, upstaging Michael Rabel's performance the night before. So there's some question marks. Look, I mean, I don't want to make any predictions or anything, but I'd like to think that they split time moving forward. I think that may happen. It worked well during the Northeastern series. It really did. Put Rabel in first. He seems to have a good first game, and then maybe put Jackson Irving in for game 2, and he can give some of his own magic there. But I mean, you got to talk about this fall off for Michael Rabel. Obviously, he is injured, but the save percentage year to year is just not there.
It is a little frustrating because, John, you always look for improvement over the seasons that you play, but the improvement's not always linear. I think that's an important point that you have to make. It does fall off a little bit. Last year was his best year in save percentage, right around 920, and Coach Carvel challenged him this year to have a 940 save percentage. He's at 897, so he's not there. He might not get there, but at the end of the day, UMass has to figure it out. Michael Rabel and Jackson Irving, whatever that looks like. And also, John, I will add, it's not totally on the goaltenders as well. Defense, whether it be your defenders or even your forwards playing well in front of your goaltender, that will have a lot to do with save percentage and ultimately wins.
Yeah, Jacob, it sure does. I mean, but at the end of the day, it's unsustainable when you're giving up 30, 40 shots on net per night. I mean, we just talked about the performance from Irving, had to save 37 shots in a shutout. I mean, that's an outstanding performance right there. But you can't ask that of your goalie each and every night. I mean, the UMass defense, which should be the strong suit of this team, has just allowed a lot of shots, frankly. So priority for Minutemen has to be getting in front of some of these pucks because the BU Terriers, they like to shoot, and they'll shoot it past you. They will.
And UMass is averaging right around 35 shots against per game, to your point, John. That's not sustainable. At least as it looks over the long term. So something to monitor. I'm excited for it. You're going to be on the call for both games. I'm trekking up as well. I'm going to be a reporter for our first time. And then, as you just told me before this, it looks like you're going to be heading out to Aganis to call that game as well.
Yeah, Jacob, we will be there. Myself and Cam Neary for WMUA, and then me and Noah on Friday night with you joining us as well. Surprise guest. Didn't expect you to make the trip up from New York, but you're going to do it. Appreciate that. And yeah, it's a fun thing to look forward to this weekend. UMass back in action Friday and Saturday night.
And so is the UMass Hockey Preview Show. We never sleep here at the UMass Hockey Preview Show. Episode 11 in the books. Along with John Ruggiero, I am Jacob Repper. Thanks for watching. Presented by the UMass Journalism Department. We'll be back, John, within, a week or two?
Yeah, I mean, next week, Jacob, you said we don't sleep, right? A week after, I believe they're playing Merrimack, so it doesn't stop. That's for sure.
Let's do it. We'll see you then.